What is up, heroes? This is Midnight Zero, and welcome back to the NCPL. We had a week break, and this week we are preparing for the Northants Ninetales, coached by Sam, a good friend of mine, who I've gotten to know actually a lot better over just this past NCPL, and the SFL in particular. I know you guys have probably seen him on HeroNet, maybe, but regardless, let's get into his team. This week in particular, I know if you guys are watching my Dog Wrong 2 Let's Play, you know that it was really busy for me, it was really busy for Lizzie, and there's a lot going on. I'm finally back home now, and yeah, I didn't have a lot of time to team prep and such, and as a result, I didn't really finish the team until just a couple hours ago, just a few hours before the battle, so I didn't really have time to make all the graphics and stuff, but starting next week, I should be able to do that again, so look forward to that. And sorry to Sam, I know, I think Sam cares a lot about the league, and he always gives his best, and he always tries hard, and he's always looking to improve, and he's someone that I think plays a really good role in the league itself. So I feel bad because I want to give him the respect he deserves by giving, like the nice graphics for his team and everything, but regardless, here's what it is. Hopefully we play later on in playoffs, Sam, but regardless, let's get into his team. The first one we've got here is Mew. Mew is such a difficult Pokemon to prep for. It's so difficult to prep for that I didn't. I just straight up didn't. I looked at it and I was like, I literally have no idea what Mew can be. I do know that up until this point, he likes to run offensive Mew sets, or I don't know, mixed Mew sets that are like hard counter sets. I don't know if you remember from TGFA Season 2, I ran a Mega Altaria that was like a counter lead set with Earthquake and Ice Beam to potentially take down Landorus T or Magnezone and various sets and everything, but not really do much outside of that. I feel like that's what he does with Mew. He builds a team and then he kind of fills the gaps with Mew. He throws some Z-move on Mew that will counter Amon that otherwise destroys his team or something like that. So I feel like I can't really prep for Mew. I just can't. I don't know what to expect. I guess if I had to predict something, I would expect a more offensive set this week with something like maybe Bloom Doom, Ice Beam, Flamethrower, some ridiculous coverage moves, because that's what Mew has access to. But yeah, I don't really know. And I'm going to have to look at his team, see what his team is weak to, and assume that Mew helps patch that weakness. That's kind of what it's going to come down to. So, not going to dwell on Mew too much. But anyways, moving on to the next Pokemon, we got Nihilego. Now, this Pokemon is actually really good. I have a lot of difficulty prepping for it, and I guess in general, you'll see that his team has a lot of special attacking prowess. And that's kind of what's scary for my team in particular, because I have very like mixed bulk kind of spread across the board, and he can just kind of overpower me to an extent. But this is Nihilego. Beast Boost, the Beast Boost, super scary. As soon as he gets one kill, he can potentially be boosting up that special attack. And it already starts with a really high special attack, great coverage in Rock Poison. It at least covers a lot of my team really well. And Hidden Power Fire or Hidden Power Ice, plus maybe Thunderbolt or something like that for good neutral coverage. Outside of that, I'm not 100% sure what kind of Nihilego he's bringing. He could bring a more defensive bulky set. I know he's considered that / done that in the past. He could bring a lead T-Spikes and Rock set. Not 100% sure. I do fully anticipate it though. Next up, Mega Charizard Y. Mega Charizard Y. This thing is a monster. This thing is such a monster. Base 159 special attack, stab fire blasts in the sun. Look at his chart. Look at this. He's got 13 kills with this Mon thus far. 13 kills. Puts in so much work. And there just isn't really a lot to do. He always brings offensive Megazard Y. Fire Blast, Solar Beam, Focus Blast, maybe a Hidden Power if he wants to, Roost, and that's really all he needs. He could bring Flame Charge, I would anticipate maybe that, but really, I fully anticipate Megazard Y because I just don't have switch-ins, and no one really has switch-ins to Megazard Y, and it's scary. I'm going to have to play around this thing so hard. I'm going to have to anticipate it coming in, I'm going to have to make aggressive plays to not give it any momentum. It's going to be really tough to work around Megazard Y, and I'm going to need to make sure I get up rocks, as, Sam is probably anticipating. But anyways, the next Pokemon is Togekiss, and Togekiss is so annoying to deal with. I hate going against Togekiss because of Serene Grace, but it is what it is. It's got a decent speed tier and decent bulk as is. Air Slash, Nasty Plot, I feel like with a bulkier, stally team, something like Togekiss is a really good stall breaker, being able to flinch and wear things down, and being able to boost up, alongside while having decent bulk and reliable recovery. So, and it also gets Heal Bell to potentially support the team. So it's a pretty good team, or a pretty good Pokemon for his team, and it has a decent matchup against my team. Of course, the only things really hurting it hard are my Bronzong and my Scizor, which is something worth looking out for. But Togekiss does get Flamethrower, so I wouldn't also be surprised to see a Babiri Berry Flamethrower set potentially come out, and we'll have to see how he plays his Togekiss as to whether or not we can like scout for that berry more or less. But yeah, we'll see. Anyways, next up is Ferretris. Now, he really likes Ferretris. It is a solid defensive wall. It's a rapid spinner. It gets momentum with Volt Switch. It can set up spikes. It can set up rocks. It's a really good Pokemon. I really want Ferretris for some future season. But it is, of course, weak to Fire, which, Hidden Power Fire is going to be boosted by the Sun on his team if he does decide to bring it, which I almost guarantee he will. But yeah, Ferretris is really helpful as just a wall, especially given I don't have a ton of offensive presence on my team in general, and it's difficult to bring, so much offense to break through something like Ferretris each week. So I do anticipate Ferretris. Next up is Zygarde. Zygarde 10%. This thing, I don't know if I'd call it a monster, but it is really good. He's like to bring, Scarf Adamant. He likes to bring Dragon Dance. Definitely offensive, and that's all this Zygarde really is. Zygarde is just really fast. It outspeeds my whole team, which is why I anticipate him bringing that, or Nihilego, which both are the only mons that outspeed my entire... Well, I guess Alolan Persian too, but it's not like I need to really fear Alolan Persian for its speed in particular. But Zygarde 10%, 1,000 Arrows is great. It hits so much of my team, and it hits everything. It hits Thundurus T, it hits Garchomp. I maybe even anticipate a Banded set, but one thing that is worth noting is that if he's adamant, he can't outspeed a max speed Thundurus T and Garchomp, so I do anticipate a Jolly Zygarde, potentially a Dragon Dance set. I'm not 100% sure. Not 100% sure whether or not he'll bring it, but yeah, moving on to the next Pokemon. We're moving on to the C-tier picks. He's got Swampert, one of the best C-tier picks and Sam's favorite Pokemon. I know he loves this mon. It's a really good defensive kind of mixed bulk wall while still being able to hit decently hard with Earthquakes and Scalds. It does get Ice Beam. I wouldn't be surprised to see Ice Beam, anticipating potential Tangrowth as a wall to this. I also don't know if he wants to use that slot for Ice Beam though, given that I can also wall this with potentially Bronzong or Suicune. So I don't know if he's going to bring something like that. He can bring this as his rocker, but I know he likes it, and it does have a decent matchup against mons like Scizor, some of my more offensive physical threats, and stuff like Gligar, some of my bulkier walls too. So I don't know. I'm kind of mixed about whether or not we see Swampert this week. Next up is Ditto. Ditto, I love Ditto so much. I draft it as often as I can, and I've only really used it a couple times. I don't use it nearly as much as Sam has been using it, but it is so good. It reveals what my sets are, so I need to be careful about, letting certain mons be revealed, because, certain mons will have some tricky moves, at least something that I don't want to necessarily reveal right away. But Ditto can reveal all my secrets. It can transform into my mons. It makes me hesitant to set up with, all my setup mons like SD Scizor, Nasty Plot, Agility Thundurus T, SD Garchomp, Agility or SD Pass with Gligar, like Calm Mind Bronzong, Calm Mind Suicune. Like there's a lot of setup potential on my team, and this thing kind of inhibits it. It also makes me wary of whether or not any of my own Pokemon can sweep my own team, because that's also something I need to worry about. So Ditto is a really scary mon to prep for. It's really difficult to use, but when used well, is super effective. And Sam has shown throughout the season that he is really good with it. So I fully anticipate Ditto, given my setup potential and potential tricky moves and how, I don't know, I'm pretty good at team building. So I feel like he'll want to know what my sets are ASAP. So Ditto is probably going to be a thing. Next up is Sawk. Sawk is a mon that I believe he used in the TGFA Season 2. He really liked it. It hits hard. That's just kind of all it is. Banded or Scarf Sawk, base 125 attack, he throws close combats, knockoff. It hits really hard. It's got 6 kills. No, not 6 kills. 0 kills. I remember in the TGFA, it straight up swept a couple teams. And yeah, it's kind of difficult to prep for. I don't know if I'll bring it, given my mixed bulk does tend to sway in the more physical side. And his special attackers in particular hit my special walls really well. I said earlier that I have some special mons, right? Or some mons like Tangrowth can run AV, Suicune can be bulky, Florges can be a really solid special wall. but at the same time, all of his special attackers hit all of those mons really, in particular, really hard. So again, I don't know how much he's going to stray onto the physical side. Probably not more than just Zygarde or Sawk if he decides to bring it, but yeah. Anyways, next up is the Alolan Persian. I know he likes the Alolan Persian. I know he feels like, in theory, it's really good, but honestly, I don't think it's that great. It is good for Parting Shot, more so than anything else. Potentially Memento, and it can Foul Play. I know in the SFL he tried to use it as a Scizor counter, and it would have worked, given it can lower my attack, it can hit me with Foul Plays, it can Parting Shot, all that sort of thing. Fur Coat having physical attack damage. It's pretty good in that sense, but outside of that, it's not really going to do a lot. And given my lack of physical attackers outside of Scizor, and that most of my physical attackers don't make contact when attacking, I don't think it'll be too useful for him. Next up, we've got Gourgeist. Gourgeist. He loves Gourgeist. He used it in the co-op league, I believe. And it's a really good bulky mon. It can take hits pretty well. It can Will-O-Wisp. It can Synthesis, which will have great synergy with the Sun that Zard provides. He can Leech Seed. I feel like this mon is one of the answers to some of the offense that I have, right? Like, unless I bring Brutal Swing or Knockoff, I'm not hitting Gourgeist super effectively with Scizor. Although Bug Bite at +2 can take a lot of damage, or can do a lot of damage. But this thing is still pretty defensive. And again, like I said, it can Wisp things. It can Leech Seed. It can Synthesis. And my Thunderous Tea isn't going to be doing a lot to it either. My Garchomp isn't going to be doing a lot to it either. So definitely a scary mon. If he decides to bring a bulkier team, I anticipate Gourgeist. However, I do anticipate more offense from him. And that's something interesting. Actually, I'll talk about that after the team. But next up, we've got Xatu. Xatu is a Pokemon that I drafted in the SFL, never used. I just didn't think it was bulky enough to fill its defensive role. It's kind of like a frail, I don't know, stall breaker kind of. It can Air Slash, it can Roost, it can Calm Mind up, and it reflects status moves and like hazards and stuff. So it has this kind of like weird bulky role while not being all that bulky. I never really got it down, and I don't think Sam really likes it that much either. So I don't know if I fully anticipate it coming. I don't really anticipate it coming, but it is kind of a problematic mon for my team to deal with. Next up, last two mons. He kind of memed in the lower tier, or the lowest tier, but he's got Togedemaru and Cosmog. Togedemaru, he actually likes this mon quite a bit, and I feel like it does have its uses. I feel like he's going to bring Togedemaru. He actually, I don't know if it's going to be Togedemaru or Forretress. It depends on if he has hazards elsewhere or feels that spinning away hazards is going to be necessary. Although I wouldn't be surprised if he brought a Defog mon, like Togekiss, because the last time I played Sam in the TGFA, I brought Garbodor, and I have Garbodor again this season, and I absolutely destroyed him with Spikes and T-Spikes and forcing him to Rapid Spin against my Rocky Helmet Garbodor. It was pretty great, so I feel like he's going to be really wary of that again this match. So I feel like he might bring Togedemaru. I don't know if he'd want to bring Forretress when that can't do anything to my Garbodor and that sort of thing. But regardless, Togedemaru, it's great against Scizor in particular. It gets Spiky Shield, Rocky Helmet, Iron Barbs. It can, I don't know, just pester things with Nuzzle and Zing Zap. It's a really annoying mon. It can Wish Protect if he wants to. I know he likes it. I wouldn't be surprised to see it. And then Cosmog is just for the memes. Get in the bag, Nevi, get in the bag, and stay in the bag. I don't think Nevi is going to be making an appearance this match. But yeah, so that's his team. It's really scary. Overall, Sam has been playing a lot more aggressively lately. He used to have a reputation for being a really safe player, and I think a lot of people started to capitalize on that. And so over the course of the SFL, he started to get more aggressive, started to make a lot more plays, started to just get more aggressive, go for damage with Fire Blast, not play around with like flamethrowers and stuff. So it's scary. I feel like he's going to play aggressively. I feel like he's going to bring a lot of offense with Megazard Y, with Nihilego, with Mew, maybe a mixed Togekiss, a Stall Breaker Togekiss with something like Nasty Plot, Air Slash, Defog, Roost, maybe some Heal Bell. He could bring Forretress to like stack hazards. He could bring Togedemaru for a physical switch in. I don't really know 100%. I feel like he's going to bring Ditto, and then maybe one physical attacker between Zygarde and Sawk. But we'll see. We'll see. I feel like he's going to bring an offensive team like that. He could bring some bulk. He definitely has bulk in Swampert, in Forretress, in Togedemaru, in Gourgeist, in Xatu, kind of, and potentially a Mew as well. So he's got a really good team. I said in my interview with him that I think his team is actually one of the best teams. but it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. You don't look at this team and immediately think that it's a great team, but it actually is. It doesn't take a nice family portrait, but it works together well. So definitely scary. Now, looking at my team real quick. Looking at my team, I just want to go through real quick. Look at all these Zard switch-ins. Do you see any of them? Do you see any of them? I literally don't have Zard switch-ins. An Assault Vest Suicune takes like 45% if it's max Spadef from a Fire Blast in the Sun. And Florges gets nuked, does like 75% maybe. Maybe like 60, 50% if it gets 2 KO'd. And it's not doing anything back. There's literally like nothing on my team that really takes on a Zard really well. And then of all my potentially specially defensive Mons, Togekiss kind of breaks through most of them. The only thing that doesn't really is Bronzong. And yeah, it's kind of scary. It's kind of scary. I initially had an Abomasnow on my team, and I kind of had that with the thought of potentially bringing it against Sam, but no, we've got another team. Let's hop into that team in just a second. All right, so let's head on over to my team for this week. We are starting off with Suicune. We've got what I'm deciding to call Pro-Kun. I don't know, because it's got Protect. It's a really interesting set. It's been going around in the Sun Moon like OU metagame, really I don't know, flourishing almost is a good way to put it. It's Scald, Calm Mind, Sub, and Protect. Now, why in particular do I have this set of moves is because I'm not taking hits, right? Like my Suicune isn't taking hits from Charizard. It's just not. So what I can do is kind of pressure stall it, or straight up pressure stall it actually. He's only got 8 Fire Blasts. He's only got 8 Solar Beams, or I think it's 16 Solar Beams. So after pressure, he can only click 4 Fire Blasts against me. He can only click 8 Solar Beams. If I Protect, that's one of them gone. If let's see here. Let's see if I can pull up these calcs real quick. Yeah, so I got some calcs here. The Spadef I have is so that I take less than 50% from a Timid Solar Beam at +1. So I take less than 75% from a Timid Zard's Solar Beam. And what that enables me to do is to, on a Solar Beam, substitute up. So I can go in, I can Protect, and then I can substitute, and then I can Protect, and then I can Calm Mind, and then I can Protect. That's 5. That's 5 turns right there. Then the Sun is gone. So then he needs to hit me with a Fire Blast if he wants to do damage, but then it doesn't have the Sun boost, and I have a Calm Mind boost. So, and I'm behind a substitute. So you can see how this kind of works. And if he wants to go for Solar Beam, he needs to charge, right? Or he needs to switch, which gives me more leftovers recovery, another chance to Protect, another chance to Calm Mind, potentially get a Scald off, which will do more damage now that the Sun is gone. So this Suicune is, it's a pretty interesting set, and it can put in work against something like Charizard even, which is surprising. It also really can stall out just about a lot of different things. It doesn't take too much from Zygarde 10%, and Sock, the defense there, the 176 defense is so that I take less than 50% from Jolly Banded Outrage. So I can Protect, I can live 2 for sure, especially after leftovers recovery. I can maybe even substitute up on the first one, and maybe even Scald Burn. After a burn, here's the important part. After a burn, he can't break my sub if he's Banded, Jolly, Zygarde. So that's kind of why I have this defense in particular. And the same goes for, or similar for Sock. I could have run 192 defense in order to guarantee that I take less than 50% from a Jolly, Life Orb, Sock's close combat. And why is that relevant? Because I feel like he might not run Band, but he might run Scarf, which will do less damage than Life Orb. And he might run Life Orb, but unlikely. So I figure this wasn't a very likely calc, which is why I'm still only sticking with 176 defense, which means that if I burn a Scarf Sock, it's not breaking through my subs. And another thing is that Air Slash from a max special attack Togekiss doesn't break my sub at +1. As long as my special defense boost is higher than his special attack boost, it doesn't break my sub, which is really cool, and that allows me to potentially stall out his Air Slashes, and gives me chances to boost up and heal up as well. So this Suicune is actually really important. It's actually really important for, I don't know, just taking on some of his special attackers. I take on Nihilego pretty well, I scare it out, I can Calm Mind up, and I really hope this puts in work. I, in a very strange way, am kind of using this as a backbone for beating his Zard and his special attackers, really, his strong special attackers. With Protect, I can kind of scout out what to do with Mew. And another thing that's really cool about Substitute is it prevents Ditto from coming in and copying my boosts. For those that don't know, Ditto can't copy or transform a Pokemon if Substitute is up on the opposing Pokemon's side of the field. So as long as I do that, I can prevent him from boosting up. And if he does eventually come in as my Suicune, takes all my Calm Mind boosts and such, he's only got Scald, Calm Mind, Substitute, and Protect, and he's only got 5 PP of each, which means he can only use each of them 3 times because of my pressure. So then he's forced to switch out again at some point, which means I can keep boosting with Calm Minds, I can get up a Substitute because his Scald isn't going to be doing anything to me, and then he's forced to switch out, and then I have a Substitute, so he has to sack something to break my Substitute again before he can come back in with Ditto, and then rinse and repeat. So this Suicune is actually really important this week, and I really hope it puts in work. Oh, I should mention, I normally run 248 HP, but 404 is so that I have base 100, or not base 100, 101 HP substitutes, which means if anything on his team has Seismic Toss, I live, it doesn't break my sub. So, yeah, that's the Suicune set this week. Moving on, we've got Thundurus T, Tsunderosu. Again, play off of Tsundere and Thundurus. Now, Thundurus T is one of the only Pokemon on my team that can hit every single Mon on his team super effectively. And that's something that's really cool. He's got a lot of 4 times weaknesses. He's got Swampert, he's got Forretress, he's got Zydoge, he's got Charizard. And Thundurus T is able to capitalize on all of those. Hidden Power Ice, Grass Knot, Incinerate, and Thunderbolts. That's why I'm running an Expert Belt set, so that every single time I do hit one of those, I'm picking up Okos, more or less. Thunderbolt is there because I don't need Hidden Power Rock for something like Charizard for a Stab Thunderbolt to KO that. Thunderbolt is also really helpful. It does a lot of damage to just about anything it outspeeds. And in particular, what's really neat is I have this EV to outspeed Adamant Zygarde, which he very well could bring. I know he's brought Adamant Scarf before and bluffed being Jolly, but yeah, I can potentially scout for that. Max Special Attack, Spadef because I anticipate potentially taking a Solar Beam, maybe? I don't really know. But one thing that's also really helpful is that, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, if he does copy my Garchomp and he's Scarfed, and he locks himself into Earthquake, I can take on my own Garchomp. I can hit my own Thundurus T potentially if he brings in Ditto on this with Hidden Power Ice, and I'll be doing more damage than he will because I'll be Expert Belt and he'll have a lower base HP than me, although with the EVs it actually kind of levels out. And if he tries to copy my Scizor, I take minimal damage from a Bullet Punch, and I can KO it back with Incinerate. So this is also kind of like control on Ditto, which is scary. It's so difficult to prep for, you guys. But yeah, anyways, moving on to the next Pokemon, we've got a Scarf Garchomp. Now, at first, I was really reluctant to Scarf either Thundurus T or Garchomp because he's got so many immunities or really solid resists and checks to some of their moves. So I didn't really want to lock myself into one particular move, but I was thinking that I do want to Scarf Garchomp because it is faster, it's the fastest Pokemon on my team, so if he uses Ditto to copy any Pokemon on my team, and he's running Scarf on that Ditto, at the very worst, he speed ties my Garchomp, and otherwise I outspeed and knock out everything else that he could potentially copy. And if he is Scarf, and he copies my Garchomp, I have Mons on my team that can take it on. So yeah, that's kind of the mentality there. Outside of that, the coverage is pretty simple. Outrage is if I just want to start nuking things. If I just want to start doing a ton of damage, it might be my only way of KOing Zydoge, though Zydoge is pretty frail just in general, so I don't really have to worry about that too much. But yeah, late game, if I just want to dent some things, you know, if Nihilego is out there and I don't want to worry about Earthquake, locking myself in Earthquake, I might just have to go for Outrage. I also live a Dazzling Gleam from a relatively bulky Togekiss, so that's kind of relevant. So I'm not too worried about Togekiss potentially coming in on Outrage, maybe. And Earthquake is there for Nihilego. It also just hits everything grounded really hard. It just does, except for Gourgeist. And that's why you'll see I have Fire Fang, which will be Sun boosted. It's there for Forretress. It's there for Togedemaru. It's there for, I mean, obviously Earthquake is there too, but coverage, right? It's there for Gourgeist in particular. And with the sun boost, it'll do a lot of damage to just about anything. It also has a chance to flinch, it also has a chance to burn. So, you know, it's fine. But the last move we have is Rock Slide, and that's for going up against Charizard, it's going up against Togekiss, and the good old saying, where there's a Rock Slide, there's a way. You know, flinch chances are always nice, but Xatu also gets hit really hard by Rock Slide, and yeah, coverage, because I don't want to lock myself into something that won't hit certain mons, and if I'm at least doing damage, that's good. Again, I'm built to outspeed my own Thundurus T, which is pretty neat, and max attack and then some HP to potentially live hits better. Pretty straightforward, Next up is Bronzong. Now, I want to talk about this Bronzong set because there's a lot of thought that went into this. I really wanted to bring Bronzong this week. It's one of the few answers I have to Togekiss and Hiligout that are like reliable answers, while still being helpful for all of his physical mons, and just a lot of his mons in general, potentially like Swampert too. I was really not sure about what I want to do with my ability, Heatproof or Levitate. In the end, I ended up choosing Levitate because it helps me take on Swampert better, it helps me take on Zydoge, and I actually take Hidden Power Fires really well anyways, and the only Fire-type moves I really want to stay in against, or that it would help me take really well, are, Zard's attacks. It actually gives me a chance to live a Fire Blast in the sun from full, and that's kind of crazy. But yeah, regardless, this HP and this defense are relevant. So this defense in particular means that Zydoge doesn't do more than 70 2/3% damage to me with a Jolly Life Orb 1,000 arrows while I still have my Levitate. Why is that relevant? That means, or that's when I don't have my Levitate. So why is this relevant? This means I take 1,000 arrows with my Levitate, I get Leftovers recovery, and then I take another 1,000 arrows after I've lost my Levitate, even if he's Jolly and Life Orb. So it's a really cool way of potentially beating Zydoge. I do more than 75% with my Gyro Ball, which is why I have 0 speed IVs and a minus speed nature. Something else worth mentioning is I was really not sure about what to do with speed EVs, or IVs rather, because if I invest 15 IVs into my speed, I outspeed a minimum speed Forretress with a speed reducing nature and 0 IV Forretress, and typically you should do that with Forretress so that you get slow Volt Switches and more powerful Gyro Balls, and you're really not looking to reduce your attack or your special attack stat if you're using Volt Switch, if you're using Gyro Ball, if you're using Rapid Spin, that sort of thing. But Sam hasn't been doing that. I scouted his videos and he hasn't been doing that, so it was not worthwhile to invest those IVs, especially when they reduce the power of my Gyro Ball and force me to invest attack EVs. So yeah, so that's why I have that, and I did want to mention that. And so this Gyro Ball that I mentioned is really powerful. It OHKOs Nihilego even if it's modest specs and like has I think like 80 or so HP EVs, which is what it can afford to run if it's modest and just trying to outspeed what's in that relevant speed tier. It Gyro Ball does a lot. It 2-KOs Togekiss. It does 75% minimum to Zydoge. It does a lot to anything that's fast on his team. That's kind of all it comes down to. And then anything I wouldn't want to hit with Gyro Ball, I would just want to hit with Toxic. So yeah, that's kind of why that's there. And of the couple mons that aren't hit by either Gyro Ball or Toxic, I'm going to hit with Hidden Power Fire. That's Togedemaru, and that is Forretress. Forretress, I think, can come and really easily set up rocks, spinning them away on something like Bronzong, and would not see a Hidden Power Fire coming. It actually has a really good chance to OHKO from full in the sun, and it definitely 2-KOs even if the sun is gone. So that's why that's there. Togedemaru takes a lot from it too in the sun, even if he's max Spadef. And rocks are always helpful. Rocks are going to be super important in this match too, going against something like Charizard, so definitely going to want to keep those around. And Bronzong is also really helpful for a Togekiss. Yeah. So the defense is for defense and HP for Zydoge. The rest goes into Spadef so that I live a modest specs, or I don't get 2-KO'd by modest specs HP Fire in the sun. Or not in the sun. Non-sun boosted, modest specs HP Fire from Nihilego. So that is what that is. And then the special attack is because the 4 extra EVs in Spadef don't change any of the relevant calcs. And the special attack means I have like a minimum roll does 1.3% more to Forretress. So it's just efficient EVs there. Alright, so moving on to the next Pokemon. We've got Tangrowth. Tangrowth. I really wasn't sure what to do after this. You'll notice I've got a lot on the weight of, or a lot on the shoulders of Bronzong and Suicune defensively. I don't have switch-ins. Offensively, it's all Thunderous Tea and Garchomp, and I wanted to alleviate their roles. I wanted to have something that could take more physical hits, and Tangrowth was a solid answer. Obviously, it is destroyed by all of his special attackers, but that's why I'm not going to use it for those Mons. I'm simply going to be using this to counter literally everything from Zydoge and below. And yeah, Hidden Power Fire hits all of the Steel types. Giga Drain hits Swampert, which is, I really wanted a good switch into Swampert. And, Bronzong is a good one. I don't want it getting burned though, and I don't potentially want to risk anything with that. And yeah, Tangrowth with Regenerator makes a nice pivot. It can knock off items, which will be really helpful too. And Ancient Power is there for Charizard, for Charizard and Togekiss in particular, so that I can at least do damage to them if they want to try a Nasty Plot, if they want to roost up on, my anticipated switch, because, Zard against Tangrowth is pretty scary, so I wouldn't be surprised if he wanted to switch. But if he roosts up, I will be doing 55% minimum with Ancient Power. I have a chance to get a boost. If I get the boost, I have a 80% chance to live a Sun Boosted Fire Blast from Megazard, which is pretty cool. So yeah, that's kind of all there is to it. I take 53% max from a Banded Socks close combat, and I take on Zydoge really well. I don't take much at all from Thousand Arrows, even if it's banded. I think 20% or something like that. So that's why Tangrowth is here. And then lastly we have Scizor. Last mon I added on the team, I needed defog support. I needed more defense, I guess. Bullet Punch has a 60% chance to OHKO Nihilego. It 2-hit KOs Togekiss. It does damage to things in general. U-Turn is there for momentum because I need momentum on my team to get Suicune in on the right mons, to get up a sub, to give offensive momentum to Thunderous Tea, because I don't want Thunderous Tea, Garchomp, or Bronzong even really taking a lot of hits. And yeah, U-Turn is really helpful for that. Roost, so I can, take on or heal off some of the damage I take. I take 55 or 6% from Banded Socks close combat. I take nothing from Outrage, which is, kind of synergy with Tangrowth. Outrage can be taken really well by Scizor, whereas Thousand Arrows can be taken really well by Tangrowth. But just in general, physical defense is helpful for everything lower on the in his draft. And none of his special attacking mons, they don't want to take bullet punches really, except for Zard, but they also can straight up blow back my Scizor anyway, so we'll see. Defog is there because he can potentially spike stack, which would be really annoying, but yeah, that's about all there is to it. What else do I want to say? Getting Toxics off on Bronzong is going to be really helpful. I really want to run Garbodor. Just because Sam and Garbodor have a really funny history. But I also wanted to run it because it beats his Defoggers and Spinners 1v1 if it has a Rocky Helmet. And for that reason, I think he might bring a Defog Mew in particular, because that beats Garbodor. But also Toxic Spikes are really helpful with Procoon, because, as I'm subbing, as I'm protecting, things are taking toxic damage. And, that makes it a lot more powerful or more effective of a strategy. But that's why I'm going to try and Toxic as many things as I can with my Bronzong and hope for the best. I'm really scared for this match. Sam has a really unpredictable, really good team, and Sam is a really good battler. I know he's been struggling a little bit this season. He's about 50-50 right now, and he's looking to win. And I know he's looking forward to the match, and I know he's going to bring some heat. I know he's going to bring something I'm not going to be able to anticipate, and that is scary in and of itself. But as I say that, this is also one of the matches I've looked forward to the most since the beginning of the season. After the championship in the SFL, which was such a great battle, seeing Sam evolve as a battler over the past year or so has just been so much fun, and every single time I battle him, it's a blast. So though I'm nervous, though I'm really scared, I'm excited, and I hope you guys are too. But of course, yeah, the battle's actually going to be in an hour or so, but you guys will see it tomorrow, so I hope you guys are pumped. If you are, let me know in the comment section below. But anyways, until the battle, this is Moon Knight Zero, and this mission is complete.